Use the snowstorm to mask your approach. Having second thoughts?
Hardly. But I'll have to approach this carefully.
Go on then. I'll keep watch from here.
The Battle of Fort Necessity. Date: July 3rd and 4th of 1754. This was one of the opening battles of the French and Indian War, and it's important that opening battles are quite exciting. Otherwise, everyone just sort of loses interest. In 1754, George Washington was sent to the head of the Ohio River Valley with a group of Virginia militia. The land there was contested territory between the British colonists and the French. Washington's mission was to retake Fort Duquesne and drive French forces out of the area. Washington and his troops attacked a French patrol at Jumonville Glen. In what would be the first acts of violence in the war, Washington expected a return attack and so had his troops build a palisade wall surrounding their supplies, a fort of necessity, hence the name. But they might as well have called it the Fort of Inadequacy because supplies ran low and the militia and their British regular reinforcements were quickly overwhelmed. On July 4th, Washington surrendered. He was allowed to retreat, and someone else was put in charge of naming forts. That's a stupid joke, Sean. It was Washington's only military surrender, though he had plenty of strategic retreats. PR spin was alive and well even then.
I can hide in that cart.
I'm still getting used to the controls. I keep pulling on my gun.
What's in the wagon? I need a full inventory.
As you wish. Let's see. 2 barrels of salt, 12 pounds pork, 10 pounds beef, 7 dozen eggs, 16 wheels of cheese. None of it French, don't worry. 5 bottles of whiskey, a couple of dozen new uniforms, boots, and leather for patching, blankets, a cart of feed for the horses. What else? That's it? That's all there is?
Easy peasy.
Those cannons are like to cause trouble. Perhaps I could sabotage them.
John Fraser. John Fraser, also spelt Fraser or Frazier, was a Scottish-born trader living in the area of Fort Duquesne during the French and Indian War, and a participant of the Braddock expedition. Fraser left Scotland sometime after 45, possibly because of political troubles. Fraser supported the Stuarts, who were on the losing end of a rebellion. He set up trade on the upper Allegheny River, but was quickly run out of his cabin by the French. He moved further down the river, near modern-day Pittsburgh, built a new cabin, and continued to trade. Fraser was one of the settlers building a fort on the site of Fort Duquesne, near his own land, when the French took over again. Fraser supplied Washington's attempt to reclaim the fort in 54, which was followed by the defeat at Fort Necessity, and served as the chief scout during the Braddock expedition. After Braddock failed, Fraser gave up on the area, depriving the French of a third opportunity to chase him off his land. So I suppose that's a small victory. He moved to the Tuscarora Valley before settling at Fort Bedford. Sorry about butchering all those French names.
There will be no truce.
Damn it! Why, George? What reason did he give?
He said a diplomatic solution was no solution at all. That allowing the French to retreat would...
George Washington, born 1732. Here's a name even you should recognize. George Washington, who will go on to be the leader of the army during the American Revolution and the first president of the United States. I was going to say you probably know everything I'm going to tell you, but that would be a lie. What you know is that George Washington has a lot of things named after him, and anything else you learned in school, you forgot because you thought you'd never use it in real life. You should call yourself your history teacher and tell her she was right all along. George Washington was the son of a planter from Virginia. He was raised with little education, but was ambitious, teaching himself mostly from books. Washington started in business early, speculating on land starting at the age of 18. When he was 20, his older brother died, leaving him the heir of the family plantation at Mount Vernon, where he lived until his death, and where you can still visit his grave today. Washington got his military start during the French and Indian War, leading an expedition to Fort Duquesne in 454, a destination he never reached, having surrendered at Fort Necessity. The next year, Washington headed to Fort Duquesne again, this time as a guide for Edward Braddock during the ill-fated Braddock expedition. Washington went as a volunteer, hoping that working with Fort Braddock would get him a track to military promotion. Though the battle was a rout, Washington earned credit for organizing the retreat, and later that year he was made a colonel in charge of the Virginia militia. Washington completely revamped the militia, with hopes that under his organization and training they would be accepted into the British military. They never were. Washington resigned his post in 58. I won't say the snub led to his contempt for the British, but snubs rarely help. By late 1760s, Washington had become active in political life, taking on a role in the Virginia House of Burgesses. He went on to be a member of the Continental Congress, and when war broke out in 75, he was Congress's choice to lead the army. At the time, Washington said, "I do not think myself equal to the command I am honored with," which I'm sure inspired complete confidence in everyone who heard it. Imagine if you were on an airplane and the captain opened with that. It's possible Washington was being falsely modest, but the fact is that he wasn't a military genius, and he knew it. Though I'm sure it hurts your American pride to hear me say he wasn't perfect. Washington had several narrow misses where the army could have easily been obliterated. At Manhattan, and again at Brandywine, among others. Washington won an early victory. He broke the siege of Boston, but he then made the disastrous move of fortifying New York, a city he couldn't defend. Without a navy he didn't have, even you can work that one out. He spent the latter half of 76 retreating across New York and New Jersey, losing battle after battle until Christmas, when he pulled off a successful surprise attack. The Hessian troops at Trenton, Hessian troops at Trenton, and while the battle makes for some famous paintings, and it did rally the flagging confidence of the public, it was a minor victory in the war. Yeah, so we already read John Fraser here. We're not going to do it again for whatever reason. Sometimes it keeps the little marker up.
Only delay an inevitable conflict, one in which they'd now have the upper hand.
There's merit to those words, as much as I hate to admit it. Still, can't he see this is unwise?
It doesn't fit well with you. I fear Braddock's bloodlust makes them careless. It puts the men at risk. I'd rather not be delivering grim news to mothers and widows because the bulldog wanted to poke a horn. Where is the general now?
What, we can't kill people?
Those cannons are like to cause trouble. Perhaps I could sabotage them.
Oh no, we're not doing that. We're not starting from here. Okay, give me a second.
Point. Where is the general now?
Rallying the troops.
And then it's on to Fort Duquesne, I assume?
Eventually. The march north will surely take time. There's a copy of the plans in the command tent should you wish to review them.
At least this will be ended soon.
I tried, John.
I know, my friend. I know.
That map will surely be of use. I need to find it.
Well, I keep getting caught on this one. But maybe it'll start us back up where we stole that map. Because if it starts us up anywhere else, I'm going to skip this.
Those cannons are like to cause trouble.
No
Perhaps I could
way,
sabotage
dude.
them.
Are you serious? Okay, so he's not serious. We're going to go and sabotage the cannons. Because Haytham wants to real bad. Okay, so after being detected like 5 more times, we finally sabotage the cannons and escape. And we can continue here.
What news?
Braddock has left to rally his troops. They're marching on Fort Duquesne. It'll be a while yet till they're ready, which gives us time to form a plan.
No need. We will ambush them here near the river. Go and gather your allies. I will do the same. I will send word when it is time to strike.
Okay, well, at least we have a plan. Let's skip to the next part, I think. "5 months later? Are you kidding?"
The cold, cold ground.
Here, here!
Hard at work, I see.
How did you...
It is time. We've set up camp to the north. Meet me there.
Gentlemen, let us away.
First it was too cold. Now it's too goddamn hot.
Let's learn about the Braddock expedition. Date July 9th, 1755. This battle was part of the French and Indian War. In it, Edward Braddock's force of 1,500 British regulars and militia was decimated by a group of French-led troops half its size. This is not something we talk about much in Britain. Braddock had been sent to capture Fort Duquesne at the top of the Ohio River. His officers included a young George Washington, possibly because Washington knew the area, having surrendered at Fort Necessity the year before. Braddock's troops were about 10 miles from Fort Duquesne when they were ambushed by a group of French and indigenous fighters. Braddock's advance troops were overwhelmed and fell back into the main body of the army. His rear guard didn't hear the order to stop and kept advancing into the main body of the army. The result was chaos. Almost every one of his officers was killed, with the exception of Washington. Braddock himself was fatally wounded. Washington had him carried out from the field, and he died 4 days later. An interesting historical note: Braddock gave his officers sash to George Washington, asking him to preserve it. Washington did. It's still on display at Mount Vernon. The battle is also known as Braddock's defeat, but interestingly, no one knows why. I'm kidding. Though if you need me to tell you why, I don't think you're really cut out for this.
Warm weather and bugs are soon to be the least of our worries.
What? You mean the bulldog? Please. We'll be in that one's beef soon enough and on to the next.
Where's your boy Lee gone off to?
Returned to finish out his service under Braddock.
I imagine the bulldog's none too pleased after the stunt we pulled.
Pleased to spin a tale of my incompetence and beg forgiveness. He has a way with words, especially when it comes to flattery. I expect he'll be welcomed back with open arms.
Which would give us a man inside.
Precisely.
Unless you've underestimated our enemy.
If I have, Charles will sense it first and make his escape. He's more clever than you think.
When this is done, I'm taking a week in New York. It's high time I went and saw the sights.
Of empty whiskey bottles and women's breeches, no doubt.
What other kinds of sights is worth seeing?
I see you've been busy.
All these men are from many different tribes, united in their desire to see Braddock sent away. The Abenaki, the Lenape, the Shawnee.
And you? Who do you stand for?
Myself.
What would you have me do?
Will you help the others to prepare? Follow. They come.
Everything all right, sir?
Just savoring the moment. No doubt, many wonder why it is we've pushed so far west. These are wild lands as yet untamed and unsettled. But it shall not always be so. In time, our holdings will no longer suffice. And that day is closer than you think. We must ensure our people have ample room to grow and further prosper. Which means we need more land. The French understand this, and endeavor to prevent such growth. They skirt around our territory, erecting forts and forging alliances, awaiting the day they might strangle us with the noose they've built. This must not come to pass. We must sever the cord and send them back. This is why we ride, to offer them one last chance. The French will leave, or they will die.
Now's the time to strike.
Wait. To scatter the expedition is not enough. We must ensure that Braddock falls, else he's sure to try again. I'll disguise myself as one of his own and make my way to his side. Your ambush will provide the perfect cover for me to deliver the killing blow.
We await your signal.
The Abenaki nation originated in what's now northern New England and the southern Canadian Maritimes. Although suggesting they are only one nation may be a bit of a misnomer, since Abenaki can refer to numerous groups from the same approximate geographic area and language family. Algonquin, since you asked. Although the various Abenaki would join together during crisis events, like when they were under attack from other nations, for the most part they had no central authority. That's probably partly because what caused the encroachment of British colonists on their land. The British liked to have formal governments they could negotiate treaties with. It's just so much more civilized, and sometimes there are canopies. So from the colonist perspective, no central government meant that the Abenaki had no claim to the land. Of course, they could have found out otherwise, but that would have taken work and been complicated. And perhaps most importantly, the Abenaki might have said no. While the Abenaki tried to remain neutral during the French and Indian War, they were quite literally caught between the warring British and French colonies. So some conflicts were inevitable. For the most part, they sided with the French, who were less responsible for driving them out of their homeland. The lesser of two evils, I suppose you could say. Though that's a sentence I never thought I'd say about the French. Lenape, also called Lenni Lenape, the Delaware, Before European colonization, the Lenape lived mostly along the banks of the Delaware River in what's modern-day New Jersey and Pennsylvania. The Lenape were one of the first nations to come into contact with Europeans, most significantly with William Penn, who founded Pennsylvania, which was a stroke of luck. Given his name, while the Lenape relationship with Penn was mostly peaceful, when Penn died, his sons forced most of the Lenape off their land in a deal known as the Walking Purchase. During the French and Indian War, the Lenape sided primarily with the French, though some individual groups would later leave to join the British. In 78, they were the first to sign a land treaty with the Continental Congress, agreeing to provide scouts to the army in exchange for supplies. I imagine they simply liked fine cheeses and onions. The newly formed United States showed its gratitude by eventually moving the Lenape into isolated communities in Ohio and southern Canada. How wonderfully thoughtful. Now on to the Shawnee. At the time of the French and Indian War, the people of the Shawnee Nation were mostly living in and around the Ohio Valley, the territory surrounding Fort Duquesne. Traditionally, their hunting grounds had extended into Pennsylvania and Virginia, but they were being slowly moved from their lands by the advancing line of the British colonization. Hoping to stop, or at least slow, settlement, some of the Shawnee entered the war siding with their traditional trading partners, that is, the French. By 58, some Shawnee negotiated peace with the British in the Treaty of Easton. However, the treaty wasn't respected, and if you know anything about colonial history, you are probably sadly unsurprised by that, leading to another war. Pontiac's rebellion in 63. By the time of the American Revolution started, many of the Shawnee opted to remain neutral, although some sided with the British, again hoping for some pushing back colonists. Unfortunately, the result was the same as many other indigenous peoples. The Shawnee were forced to leave their lands, with the majority eventually settling in Oklahoma. Good Lord, settling in Oklahoma. As if the story couldn't get any worse.
We await your signal.
Alright, so we're just looking to get a costume, if you will. Looking to get a British uniform here, and it seems that our guard that's patrolling is the one that we want. We should have taken him when he walks by. I'm sure he'll walk by again. Excuse me. But ugh. Alright, let's speed this up a little bit. Alright, so I tried getting him from this bush, but he never comes close enough. So, in a minute, or in like a few minutes, see, there he is. And I tried to get him, I tried to whistle and stuff. He doesn't come over. He's a terrible, terrible guard. Or maybe a really good one. Either way, I attack him right now. Everybody joins in. Then we get his uniform after everybody's dead. Perhaps it was supposed to happen like that. I don't know.
all over. How could anyone call this forest home? It's all mud and bugs.
With the French pushback, there'll be a lot of opportunities for us up north.
Have served, you mean? Sir? You are grateful to have served. General!
Edward. Not so fun on the other end of the barrel, is it?
Look out!
Sir. Where are you off to, Edward?
Holy cow, we gotta hunt down Edward here. We gotta catch him. So according to this, the indigenous people weren't actually involved until Haytham got them involved.
I never took you for a coward, Edward.
Come on, then! Such arrogance. I always knew it would be the end of you. Is the end of you.
Don't. Hurry before he gets away! I said go!
I don't deserve this!
You know, I would think that she'd kill Washington. There's no no reason to leave him alive.
Edward, but you forced my hand.
Why, Haytham?
Your death opens a door. It's nothing personal. Well, maybe it is a little personal. Been a pain in my ass, after all.
But we are brothers in arms.
Once, perhaps. No longer. Do you think I've forgotten what you did? All those innocents slaughtered, and for what? It does not engender peace to cut your way to resolution.
Wrong. Whether we applied the sword more liberally and more often, the world would be a better place than it is today.
In this instance, I concur. Farewell, Edward.
It's done. Now I have upheld my part of the bargain. I expect that you will honor yours.
Follow me.
No. No!
You seem disappointed.
I thought that I held a key that would open something here.
This room is all there is.
I expected more. What do they mean?
It tells the story of Yodzizu, who came into our world and shaped it for what life might come. She had a hard journey, fraught with great loss and peril. But she believed in her children and what they might achieve. And though she is long gone from the physical world, her eyes still watch over us. Her ears still hear our words. Her hands still guide us. And her love still gives us strength.
You've shown me great kindness, dear. Thank you. I should go.
A few days later. However, we are actually going to exit the Animus. We're going to read some of those emails finally. So, give me just a second here.
Sorry, Desmond. Little busy right now. Let's talk later.
So we got Rebecca Crane patch notes sent October 30th, 2012, 14:54 to Desmond Miles. Heyo, had a little bit of a downtime while you were gone, so figured I'd do what I could to upgrade to the operating system. It's actually been ready for a little while now, but with the Animus in safe mode, I wasn't about to try an installation. Things I did, actually it should be we, since I had a few people in the other cells chip in. Modifications to the targeting system. You should be able to move in and out of combat more easily. Free running improvements. You're less likely to jump at the wrong time in the wrong direction. Only one input for interacting with the world. No more choosing between parts of your ancestor's body. You can assassinate while moving now. Definitely try it out ASAP. You can pick up weapons on the go as well. We implemented a weather system. Rain, snow, wind. It's all there. Animals. Enough said. Fast travel. Just open your map and you can instantly travel to any unlocked fast travel location. Revamped the map. It now provides a lot of additional information and you've got more control over what it shows. There's a ton of other stuff, but your dad's yelling at me to get back to work, so I'd better wrap up. I'll hit you up on the other side as you come across new features. I actually hate this entire email. You know, the game, the Animus's whole point was that you are reliving your ancestors' memories. Now, whether or not they did or did something, free will, can play a part, and it can still be, a memory or whatever. You just, somehow the Animus, lets you explore or whatever. I get that. But this makes it seem like a video game, which I'm playing the video game. Desmond should be reliving his ancestors' memories. So her updates here, I don't agree with. She says that she's put animals in the Animus. That's, they should just be part of the memory. If Desmond's ancestor killed a deer and skinned the deer and all that stuff, that's what happened. They don't need to do that part. The fast travel thing, that shouldn't even be here. There's a lot that I don't like about that part, because, it's just not, it should never have changed from the first game. I think that, it's nice to have that free will type of experience, and it makes the game better. But they should have done it differently, is all I'm saying. I don't think it should not have happened. Fast travel should be a thing because the games get bigger. Obviously, animals should be part of the game, but they're just part of life. So saying that you've updated the Animus to have animals is not, it's stupid. I don't like it. The fast travel thing, again, shouldn't even be there in the patch notes. It's ridiculous. I liked the old games, the 2 and you had the Ezio ones, where fast travel was like, I'm gonna go into this tunnel, and then I'm gonna come out somewhere else. Now I get that on this one, that's not really a possibility. So instead, just, you're just going to kind of avoid it, I think, entirely. And just, the player would know that they're going to be able to fast travel, that's all. I get the map, that's part of the Animus wheel, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me if you agree with me. If not, if there's some other explanation or whatever that you can think of, please do tell me all about it. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to read what you have to say. I'm done rambling, so let's move on to the next one. Sean Hastings database. Sent on October 30th, 2012, 1500 Desmond Miles. First of all, welcome back. It's good to see you fully recovered. Can't imagine what it was like for you, trapped in there. If ever you want to chat about it, you just let me know. Seems un-Seanly. Anyway, you'll find the database essentially unchanged aside from a few cosmetic upgrades. As before, you'll receive notification when I've added a new entry. I'll also let you know if any of the entries are updated, as is often the case when dealing with these conspiratorial ancestors of yours. William Miles, The Mission. October 30th, 2012, 17:22 to everyone else in this cave. I know it's easy to get distracted while inside the Animus, but I'm hoping everyone can stay focused here. We need to find that key as soon as possible. Also, do not go exploring the temple without first clearing with me, and carry your headsets with you at all times. Can't afford to lose anyone because curiosity got the better of them. We're short-handed as it is. Got Sean Hastings' balls. Huh. Sent October 31st, 2012 at 12 o'clock to everybody. We've got a visitor down here. It's Juno. She's been appearing every now and then. Sort of flits through the air. Reminds us to guard you as well. Find the key, blah blah, and then poof, disappears. At first we thought it was just another holographic recording, but then your father called her some rather choice words, and she glared at him. Honest, swiveled those eyes in his directions, and frowned, creeped me out. I don't know if she's reaching out to us from the past, if some part of her is actually still conscious, or if maybe she's inside the apple, like some evil genie. Whatever it is, gives me the creeps. And on that note, happy Halloween. We got Sean Hastings, Haytham's Amulet, 2012, 1507 to everybody. Though I suppose Haytham's amulet is technically a piece of Eden, it's not particularly exciting. It functions as a key, and, well, that's about it. I know. We're all used to these things being incredibly powerful and thus rather dangerous, but this one is neither. Is it weird? I'm disappointed. That said, it's still critical to our mission, so I suppose that counts for something. Sean Hastings, frowny faces. November 1st, 2012, 2241, to everyone. Good Lord, Rebecca, with all these fixes and updates and improvements you supposedly put into this recent software revision, one would think you would have had the decency to include a British English dictionary in the spell checker. Some of us prefer to use proper language when corresponding. The database keeps trying to replace the letter S with Z in certain words, and it's declared war on the letter U as well. Realize becomes realize, and color becomes color. Wrong. It's all rather ethnocentric, if you ask me. Also, quite against the principles of the Assassin Brotherhood last I checked, and here I thought we were meant to be an all-inclusive bunch. Moving on, we have email fix from Rebecca. That's November 3rd, 2012 at 18:29 to everyone. Just a quick heads up, replying to email chains will no longer return multiple instances of the word RE. Should cut down on subject length considerably. Sean Hastings, email fix. November 3rd, 2012, 18:35 to everyone. Are you sure about that? See above. Haha, very funny, Sean, Rebecca says in the next email. Alright, and then the next one from Rebecca, so far so good. November 5th, 2012 at 1:32 in the morning. To everyone. Hey there, Desmond. As you will see from the date of this email, you've been in the Animus for a few days now. But don't worry, I've been staying on top of your vitals. Not even a blip. So it looks like expanding the sessions won't be a problem. Whatever happened between you and 16 seems to have increased your tolerance. The animus keeps you in a resting state, which takes care of fatigue, and your memories are vivid enough. We're actually seeing micro movement in your muscles, which means no atrophy issues either. Still, we'll be bringing you out for breaks just to stay on the safe side. Okay, hello. So it looks like we can replay missions from this computer, which I think is actually really cool. I don't, or the Animus, I guess you could do it from there too. Let's go and see what Pops has to say.
Yes?
Just thought I'd, say hi.
You have more important things to do right now.
Jesus, Dad.
What? What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Hi, son. How are you? What have you been up to?
I know what you've been up to. Nothing. You wasted away in some shitty apartment with a pointless job, while the rest of us were out there fighting to make a difference.
You are such an asshole. Are you thinking about hitting me again? Because this time, I will hit back.
Let's just get back to work, okay?
Ooh, that's
Stop
rough.
wasting time. Clock's ticking, Desmond.
Stop being a douchebag. Alright, let's go talk to Sean. Maybe he's better than he was.
Would you look at that?
What is it?
If I had to guess, I would say it's a counter. And judging from the iconography, I think it's safe to say when that's emptied, the end begins. Honest answer, please, Desmond. Do you think we're getting out of this alive?
I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty tall order. If the first Civ couldn't save the world, how the hell are we supposed to swing it?
We have some time.
We have less than 2 months. They had decades and a lot more resources. And the worst part is we knew this was coming for, what, hundreds of years?
History repeats, it seems. The first Civ was so busy with their war against us, no one even noticed what was happening. We get advance warning and then fall to fighting with the Templars. Lovely.
Hopefully, whatever's behind that door will make a difference.
And if it doesn't, well, at least we tried. Back to work I go. You should consider doing the same. I'm working right now. All the visual clues are here, which means no time for chit-chat, okay? Sorry.
Yeah, so I do enjoy that the subtitles read the wrong names when somebody's talking. It's from far away, like through an intercom. It just says Desmond, and then you can hear somebody else's voice, which would be really confusing to somebody who, I don't know, couldn't hear. This looks like some crazy first Civ machinery or something like that. Maybe it's a fancy lamp. Let's see. Doesn't seem to be anything around here. Using eagle vision doesn't do anything at all. Well, alright. Can we leave? Nothing crazy here. Alright. With that, I think that's enough exploring. We can jump back into the Animus. But, actually, on that note, we are going to end the episode, and we'll jump back in right here. Or right where we left off in the Animus. So we'll see you next time. Have a good one, and goodbye.